It was a humid Lagos evening when Chuka first locked eyes with Adana. She stood by the balcony of her father's mansion during a charity gala, dressed in an emerald gown that shimmered under the moonlight. Chuka wasn't supposed to be there. He had snuck in posing as a freelance journalist, armed with nothing but his charm and a fake press badge.
Excuse me,
He had said, approaching her with his signature smirk.
do you believe in love at first sight, or should I walk past again?
Adana turned, suppressing a laugh.
Bold line for a reporter, don't you think?
Ah, but life is short, my dear,
Chuka replied, his grin widening.
and I hear the appetizers are shorter.
Adana laughed. It wasn't just the line, it was the audacity, the wit. Amidst a sea of stiff, pretentious elites, here was someone who didn't take himself too seriously. That night, they talked for hours, oblivious to the curious glances from the guests. Their connection was instant, electric. But as the evening drew to a close, Adana's father, Chief Obiora, spotted them. His sharp, commanding voice shattered their bubble.
Dana, who is this man?
Chief Obiora's gaze swept over Chuka with a mix of disdain and suspicion. Chuka, unbothered, extended a hand.
Good evening, sir. Chuka Nwokolo, freelance journalist, part-time troublemaker.
Chief Obiora ignored the gesture.
Adana, inside now.
As Adana reluctantly followed her father, she turned back to Chuka, her eyes filled with an unspoken promise. This isn't over. Despite her father's disapproval, Adana continued seeing Chuka in secret. They met in hidden corners of Lagos, their love growing stronger with every whispered conversation and stolen kiss. Chuka often joked about their predicament. Who would have thought? Me competing with a billionaire's money, he teased one night as they sat on a quiet beach. Adana leaned against him, her voice soft. You don't need to compete. You've already won. But their bliss was short-lived. One night, as Chuka walked home after meeting Adana, a black SUV screeched to a halt beside him. Before he could react, masked men jumped out, muffling his screams and dragging him inside. Vanished. Without a trace. Adana was frantic when Chuka didn't show up for their next meeting. She called his phone incessantly, but it went straight to voicemail. Days turned into weeks, and her heart sank as hope faded. Her father, unmoved by her tears, insisted Chuka was nothing but a distraction. Forget him, Adana, Chief Obiora said firmly one evening. You belong with someone who can provide for you, not some street boy. But he's more than that, she shouted, her voice cracking. He's everything to me. You don't know what you're saying, her father replied coldly. This is for your own good. Adana's pleas fell on deaf ears. Chuka's family, fearing the billionaire's wrath, avoided speaking out. And so Chuka became a ghost, his name a painful memory for Adana. Stranded in the Caribbean unbeknownst to everyone, Chuka was alive but far from safe. His captors, their motives unclear, transported him to a remote island in the Caribbean and abandoned him there. Alone and confused, Chuka struggled to survive. He turned his pain into purpose, learning to fish, build shelters, and navigate his isolation. He often spoke to the ocean, his humor a lifeline. Adana, he would say to the waves, I hope you're eating jollof rice somewhere and thinking of me. Because this fish stew I've been eating? Hey, it's not giving what it's supposed to give. Under immense pressure from her father, Adana reluctantly married Alhaji Bello, her father's wealthy, elderly associate. The wedding was extravagant, but Adana's heart was absent. Though Alhaji was kind, their marriage was devoid of passion. She often found herself staring out the window, her thoughts drifting to Chuka. One evening, Alhaji noticed her melancholy. You don't smile much, Adana. Is there something I can do? She forced a smile. You've done enough, Alhaji. I'm fine. But she wasn't. While traveling on a private plane with Alhaji over the Caribbean, disaster struck. An engine failure sent the aircraft spiraling toward the ocean. Panic filled the cabin as Adana gripped Alhaji's hand. Hold on! The pilot shouted, though it was clear there was no hope. The plane crashed into a remote island, the impact violent and unforgiving. Adana, trapped in the wreckage, screamed for help as flames began to consume the aircraft. Chuka, now a hardened survivor, saw the plane plummet from the sky. Without hesitation, he sprinted toward the wreckage, his instincts guiding him. He pulled bodies from the flames, searching for signs of life. Then he saw her. "Adana?" he whispered, his voice trembling. Her eyes fluttered open and she gasped. "Chuka, is it really you?" For a moment, time stood still. Tears streamed down her face as Chuka freed her from the wreckage. He carried her to safety, cradling her as the plane exploded behind them. As they sat on the beach that night, Adana explained everything. Her forced marriage, her grief, her undying love for him. Chuka listened, his heart aching with both joy and sorrow.
I saw I lost you forever,
she said, her voice breaking.
You can't lose what's yours. And you, Adana, have always been mine.
When news of the crash reached Chief Obiora, he was shocked to learn Adana had survived, and even more shocked to learn Chuka was alive. Adana refused to return to Lagos without him, and for the first time her father softened. Seeing how fate had reunited them, he relented. "Fine," Chief Obiora said, sighing heavily. "If this is what destiny wants, who am I to fight it?" Chuka and Adana returned to Lagos as heroes. Their wedding was a grand affair, but this time their joy was genuine. As Chuka took Adana's hand at the altar, he whispered, "I told you, my love. Not even a billionaire can stop destiny." And as the crowd cheered, Adana smiled, knowing their love had truly conquered all.